Do it for the views. Gotta do it for the views. Oh,
guys, 24 hours ago we were having lunch in London, England. Right now we're in Greenwich, Connecticut, USA. There's some cars here, but this is just a parking lot to take the shuttle to the actual show. The show here, I've seen some stories, and it might be wilder than any shows we've seen in Europe, potentially. I mean, this is some next level stuff. Let's go check it out. Last night we flew to Toronto, spent about 6-7 hours in Toronto before flying back to New York. So UK to Toronto to New York, now we're in Connecticut. A lot of traveling, but I gotta say it's worth it. So we're at Miller Motorcars Legends event. I think it's the second one they've done. And this might be the most stacked concentration of hypercars in any show you're gonna see in your life. So they pretty much open up all the dealerships, brought up their best client cars. It's not inventory cars, and they open it up for the public to see. Okay, starting off with something, it's not so much hypercars. I don't know what's in the showroom, but outside is a Pajero Evo. That is very cool. But inside, I am seeing a few pretty cool cars. There's music here, so I'm sorry if it's a little bit loud in the background, but here we have an orange 993 Turbo. I believe it's a turbo, but it's paint to sample. Next to that is a car we actually know very well. For long-time viewers, you'll remember we actually had one of these for a few days. Got to drive it around a bunch, review it. This is a E30 M3 Sport Evo. So it's the top of the line, homologation special M3. But yeah, if you guys go back a few years on my channel, we do have a full review of one of these. Then we have a Lancia Delta Integrale. And I'm not too familiar with all the Singer models, but we have a very nice one right here. I actually think we saw this car at Moda. I don't know if I filmed it or not, but this specific one I'm pretty sure was at Moda. And upstairs we have two more Singers. This color is pretty cool, the pink, but I gotta say, even though they are cool, if you see out of the window there's a Huayra outside, which is definitely not even the highlight of the show, but we gotta keep moving because otherwise this video is gonna be way too long because there's some wild cars over there, absolutely everywhere. You guys have to check this out. Okay, so next up is the Ferrari showroom. So I'm sure there's gonna be some pretty special cars here before we move on to McLaren and Pagani and so much more. So again, starting off here is a more regular cars, but they're still very clean. We have a 400 convertible, a 348 convertible next to this 355 that I want to go take a closer look at because the color is beautiful. And then we have a 456 as well and a Ferrari 550. Now the color on this 355 is so awesome. Now I do think green on tan is a little bit played out now. I think everybody gets it, but the fact that this is a car from the 90s with this combo makes it so much more special, and the interior looks perfect. And then on the other side is where the serious cars are. So we have the F50, the gated manual V12 open top. I mean, this is wild. The paint is actually, in this slide we probably won't see it, but the paint is so thin that you can see the carbon fiber weave through the paint. Beside that, there's a 512 TR, and you can't have an F50 without having an F40. So there's one right here as well. Again, red on red. They're mostly all the same, except for if it's a Brunei car or a redone car. Next to that is a Ferrari 512M. So the 512M has the open headlights. Now, I always say with cars that have pop-up headlight options and open headlight options, as much as everybody loves pop-up headlights, usually the more valuable and better cars are the open headlights, and the 512M is a prime example of that. Guys, sorry if there's a bit of wind noise, but we are walking from the Ferrari dealership to the McLaren dealership. Now, McLaren has a lot of special cars. They have the P1s, the Sennas, and everything, and normally because there's such few of the F1s, when you hear about somewhere that's going to have the most special McLarens, you're going to assume P1, stuff like that, because what are the chances somewhere's going to have an F1? Well, today Miller Motorcars, the chances hit, and there's a McLaren F1 in the showroom. Before we go inside, there's some cars outside that are kind of worth taking a look at. SLS, 750S, 765 LT, 675 LT as well, but of course, there's only one car we are here for at the McLaren dealership. Definitely not something you expect to see at any other car show. I mean, especially a white one. And the crazy part is we saw another white one 2 weeks ago at DK Engineering, but now we're standing next to another one. Who knows? I don't know how many white ones are, but I wouldn't say more than 3 or 4. Yeah, I mean, McLaren F1, the best car ever made, the pinnacle. This is as good as it gets. But again, there's still cars that are going to come up. There's a lot of cars coming up. They're going to be close to this level at this show. So definitely don't click away yet because we are not even close to done. But this one is so freaking nice. The full road car, there's no spoilers, no HDK. It's not a GTR. 3-seater configuration, blue interior. You can see the blue center seat right here, Alcantara, and the 2 seats behind it. I mean, this is as good as it can possibly get. Well, We're at Pagani now, and after Pagani there's Bugatti and there's Aston Martin, so fun is about to start. You can see there's something cool in the showroom, but we're gonna go take our time and walk through all the cars first. So yeah, we have this Huayra coupe right here with its Tempesta package. You can tell by the bigger carbon splitter, the wheels. I mean, a painted body Huayra at this point is pretty rare. I feel like most people get some carbon body on it, whether it's just a regular carbon or blue, red, whatever it is. I do personally like the paint more. I think it contrasts the car better, especially now if you have the carbon on the bottom, carbon on the top, and yeah, like I just think it's a little bit of a cleaner look. Okay, so here we are inside the Pagani dealership. Now, we'll get to that one later, but first we have this one right here. We have the red C12S Roadster. Now, the way you can tell it's a C12S, C12 is the only one that had the two spoiler, kind of the split spoiler right there. But again, painted body. Back in the day, these were not what they are now, right? So now, something like this will run you probably pretty close to $10 million. Back in the day, this thing was under $1 million. I remember when Top Gear reviewed them, they were talking how it's crazy that it's like 655,000 pounds. And now these things are very, very close to $10 million. Now, these were special for several reasons. One, obviously, it is a manual. Like, I think most Zondas are manuals up till the Cinque, but, you know, nowadays, find something like this NA V12 is just unheard of. And these cars are, like, not exactly road legal in North America. They're kind of show on display or weird other laws. So there's really not a lot of these running around. And what we mostly got was the Huayras. So anytime you see something that's not a Huayra and is a Zonda, it's very, very special. It's just something that you really don't see every day. And in my opinion, they look better, they sound better, they're more rare. I just think this is where it's at. And a lot of cars got sent back to the factory, and they would take a car like this one, like the C12S, and personalize it to the new owner spec or the previous owner spec, whatever it is, and they will call it a 760 or just redo the car. And there's not a lot of original cars left, but this is one of the original ones, and I am personally a lot of a bigger fan of the original Zondas. So whereas we just saw a very original Zonda, this is not like a classic, you know, very normal Zonda by the way the car was originally supposed to look. This is one of the later cars, the more aggressive cars. So you can tell full carbon body, blue carbon and regular carbon, and a massive spoiler, a big air intake above the roof, which I am always a gigantic fan of a big air intake on top when the car is a convertible, because look at how crazy this looks. Just you have a big intake just between the seats, and I just think this is one of the most aggressive features you can have on a car. The spoiler is massive with this like fin going down, almost like a Veneno did back in the day. But you know, a car like this, I believe this car did get redone. I don't think this is how it originally came from the factory, but this is definitely a lot more aggressive, and it looks a lot, I don't know if I want to say cooler, but it looks just a lot meaner, a lot more competitive to new hypercars like, you know, a Valkyrie or whatever it is, where they have all the big spoilers and this and that. This is more about the flash, whereas the other one was more classy, in my opinion. But there's definitely people that would like both. I do like both. Again, I would never say no to one like this. Personally, I prefer the original cars, but these are still absolutely badass cars. And yeah, I mean, look at it from the back. The 4 exhaust pipes like every Zonda, but the gigantic spoiler, the huge diffuser right here gives the car so much character that you don't get on a regular one. So obviously, if you want to personalize the car to yourself and add all the little bits and features, I don't think you could really do that much customization with any other car rather than a Pagani Zonda. The one thing I like is they do keep the interiors fairly original. I mean, overall, there's no weird screens or anything like that. Still wooden steering wheel and still a manual shifter, but they do add a few touches. Now, this car has the plaque right in the middle and the carbon fiber kind of roll bars or whatever you want to call them right here. But man, this is such a wild car. Not a lot of cars aggressive as this. This really gives it the full hypercar look. Okay, so probably the most aggressive looking car ever made. Like, look at this thing. Like, it's not a road car. I gotta say that, obviously, because they couldn't make something that looks like this be a road car. But look at the gigantic intake on the roof. We got the massive spoiler with the fin. The Bugatti Bolide is next level crazy. This is you spending millions and millions of dollars on a car that you cannot drive on the road. And I mean, I don't know what the service costs or something like this are, but when a road car costs you probably 30 to 50 grand a year to maintain, I can only imagine what a track car would be worth. I think it's gonna be way more. These are absolutely wild. I mean, Bugatti usually makes comfortable, nice cruisers. This is the furthest thing from that. This thing is just a track killer. Look at the headlights, look at everything. This has got to be the most aggressive looking car ever made. I think this is there's not even a comparison. Let's look at the back of this car, because if the front looks like that, I haven't taken a close look at a Mistral before, but yeah, I mean, enough said. This is, look at the massive exhaust pipes, the X-shaped taillights. Oh my God, the diffuser, everything. I mean, not many cars make me speechless, but this one really, really, really does. You can see the crowd around it. Look at this. Do it for the views. Gotta do it for the views. Oh, yeah. Now, you know this steals the show when you have a Bolide on this side, 1 second, right there, and a new Tourbillon on that side, the car that hasn't even come out yet, or hasn't been on the roads yet, and not that many people around those. But before we go to those Bugattis, we also have the EB110 Super Sport right here. Tell us Super Sport by the little vents on the back. It's a little more aggressive compared to the EB110 GT. But even the GT, I mean, these are kind of more true Bugatti DNA, even though now we know Bugatti for the W16 engines. These were, 1 second, quad turbo V12 manuals. Now they're just the W16, so it's kind of comfort, luxury, and everything. And let's talk about this one. But let's go see the newest creation from the brand. So next up is the newest creation from Bugatti in general. So this will be the new car that I don't want to say you'll see everywhere, but if you are going to see a new Bugatti, this is what it's going to be. This is the Tourbillon. So they ditched the W16 for a V16. Power, I believe, is 1,800 horsepower. Still crazy. I don't remember how many cars made, but somewhere between 200 and 500. Hopefully deliveries are going to start soon. I don't think this is an actual production car. I'm pretty sure this is just a prototype, but it is crazy that they brought it here for just like, you know, a car show. The fact Bugatti sent the car out for this. So now Bugatti-wise, we have EB110, we have the Mistral, we have the Bolide, and we have this. And I don't know, I don't think there's a Veyron somewhere here, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is, to be honest. So the newest creation from Bugatti based off the Chiron is right here. This is the Bugatti Mistral, the open top variant, limited edition, 99 units ever made. Now these do not even come with a roof, so on a rainy day like today, which is drizzling, you probably could not be driving this car. But yeah, we saw one with the blue interior driving next to my house pretty recently. These cars are north of $5 million. Incredibly rare to see, and any Bugatti with an open top is a very special car. And then right here in a room where there's not that many people at all, there's a De Tomaso P72. We haven't seen one of these in a long time. These are V12s, and I believe they're manuals as well. And overall, I think they're based loosely off the Apollo IE, and I think they're actually built in the same place. But yeah, very good looking cars. Design-wise, I think it's a lot more classic than the Apollo IE. Apollo IE is, like, in my opinion, a little bit too aggressive. This is something that's going to age very well, in my opinion. Kind of almost blends into the look of, like, really cool cars in the 60s and 70s. Very round shape. The mirrors that stick out are so nice. And the spec specifically on this one, the kind of brownish with the white, I think is a very, very classy spec. So correction, the concept car was a V12, and this is actually a V8 now for the production car. Okay, so now we finished with the Bugatti area. We're moving on to the Aston Martin area. Now, if I mess any names up, I'm sorry. It has been a long week, and all the Aston Martin names recently have been sounding very similar. But here is the Valor. Full carbon body on this one. Now, these ones are V12s with manual transmissions. We've actually been seeing one quite a lot in the videos at Mina's shop. There's a green one over there in Toronto. But yeah, the Valor's right here. They made, I think, 106 of these. I'm not sure how many of these they made, but this, I believe, is the Valiant. Now, the Valiant is based off the same car, the same engine, same transmission, but a little bit more aero. You can see the different diffuser, just slightly different body overall. The biggest tell is obviously the spoiler in the back. But this one, the green with the tan interior, classic spec for a car like this. But man, traffic is building up here. But there's another few cars inside we're gonna go check out. But I think this is my first time seeing a Valiant. Possibly, I don't know, maybe. Now this, I believe, is the first one of these that I am seeing. I don't think I've seen one before. I don't know if this is a customer car, but this is the Valhalla. So this, from my understanding, again, the new Aston Martin lineup has been so complicated. Also, sorry about the background. There's a lot of people here and it's a tight space, but the new Aston Martin lineup has so many weird, like, $1 million cars, and they all sound like the same names and all that, so it gets a little bit confusing. But the Valhalla, I believe, is kind of something like to rival an SF90 XX. Also, sorry, there's a million people walking in the picture. But I believe it's time to rival something like an SF90XX, so it's not quite super hypercar level, but it is definitely more than a supercar. So this one's got the carbon body in the front, which changes to green paint as you go back. So yeah, we've seen a ton of Valkyries in the last few days, but this is kind of more of a subtle version of the Valkyrie looks wise. Still, I mean, if the Valkyrie didn't exist, this thing would look wild, but in comparison, obviously it looks a lot more normal. But yeah, the half carbon, half green, I actually really dig that kind of design, and the carbon roof as well. The doors go up. I think these are V12s. I'm not 100% sure. Correct me if I am wrong. But yeah, like 1,000 horsepower, like around $1 million. So kind of SF90XX, SVJ, McLaren Senna level car. So another thing I just noticed on the Bolide, look at how aggressive. Full slick tires, and you can fully see them from the kind of exposed rear end of the car. I just can't get over. I know we already looked at some of the other cars, but I can't get over how crazy this car looks and the fact this is an actual car that people can buy. Guys, like I'm telling you, this show so far has been incredible. I mean, we just landed back from Europe from literally 2.5 weeks of nothing but supercars and hypercars to Toronto, and normally after a trip like that, even after car week, I just want to sleep. But getting here, I was pretty tired, but as soon as I started seeing these cars, it woke me right up. I am so into it. I honestly thought I'm going to be here more for the content and, you know, be like, well, I've seen most of these cars in the last few weeks, but this is next level stuff. And the fact that this is an hour flight from home, or usually I drive it, so it's an 8-hour drive, is pretty crazy. Guys, I would go follow it for you, but it's already in the showroom, and look at this. There's zero chance I'm getting in there. And then the car's trying to roll in. It's the end of the show for today. Tomorrow they're doing another one, or potentially today when you guys see this, depending on if I upload tonight or tomorrow. But today was until 4 o'clock, tomorrow is until 3. So if you guys aren't interested, if I do post it tonight, tomorrow is Sunday. It will be until 3 p.m. I'm gonna try to post it tonight, depending on how good my Wi-Fi is at the hotel. It's crazy how loud the Bolide was, and then, you know, you go back to regular Bugatti kind of DNA, like the EB110, and it's so quiet because it's just muffled by turbos.